Hello everyone. So this is the very first video on high level system design concepts. Now in this concept basically we are going to talk about that is required in order to start designing the actual systems. Now system design is a very important topic that every developer with 4+ years of experience should start learning, because nowadays in 2026 it's been asked a lot. It is very important for a developer to know about the system grains, that how does it work, what are the important components, what components does what, in order to take better software engineering decisions as a software engineer, and it will make somehow their life easier to understand like what's going on when they join some architectural meeting or meetings in general with their seniors. Now if someone wants to is confused like what should they start first, HLD or LLD, so I would suggest start with HLD first, because low level design is little bit more into the coding part and it uses some of the concepts that we will learn in our HLD. So we will be starting with the very first topic, which is network protocols. And what is network protocols? If definition wise we see, then network protocols defines the rules so that two systems can communicate with each other. Now when we say application, web application, then in web application there is in general two parties. One party we are calling it as a user, and second one is server. Server is the actual application. It might be running anywhere in the world, maybe in US, maybe in Nepal, maybe wherever, right? And user is sitting at his home, connected via internet using web browser, and it searches google.com, and then it send the request to the server, and server will send the response back. Now can the server ask clients for some information? Should it ask the client for some information or not? Under what conditions server can ask something from client? So all this is defined by network protocols and the kind of protocol we are using, and also for certain use cases which protocol we should use. So we will look at everything here. Now in web application we have around 7 layers, out of which we will be talking about only 2 layers here, which is application layer and network layer. Also we will see network layer as well, like transportation layer and network layer are like has very slight difference, but we will look into those both. Now in application layer we have divided them into two parts. One is client server protocol and second is peer-to-peer. In client server protocol we have four, which is HTTP, FTP, SMTP and WebSockets. In peer-to-peer we have something called WebRTC. Now out of these all we have HTTP, WebSockets and WebRTC, the most important one. Now as we saw earlier, we have two parties, client and server. Client will send the request and server will respond. Now this is HTTP. In this one the connection is only one directional. In this only client can request for something from the server and server will have to respond. So HTTP is generally used for, here we are accessing the web pages because they are static. There is no additional information required by anyone. The client just request for some website and server will respond with the static web page, the home page, and it will be loaded. So this is one way, and here client can only request. There is only one connection maintained here and it is HTTP, so it is not secure. Text transfer protocol, which is a connection oriented, so it is not secure enough. Now next is FTP, which is file transfer protocol. In this there are two connections maintained. One connection will always remain intact and the second connection can be created or destroyed any number of times. So the first connection that remains intact is called control connection, because we have to maintain a pipe between both of these two, and the second one, which is data connection, where with the help of which we will transfer the files that we need to do. Okay, this also is not secure, so it is not encrypted. So this is about FTP. Now when we talk about SMTP is always used with either IMAP or POP. So SMTP is what? A mailing network protocol. Generally it is used for sending emails, SMTP, and IMAP is used for receiving the emails. Alright, SMTP cannot be used alone, so it needs IMAP or POP support in order to function properly. So here step one, what is? Via SMTP we send the email, sender is sending the email via SMTP. Then user agent will be there in middle, and we can say this whole map is IMAP. It has MTA clients. MTA stands for message transfer agent. So these MTA clients are in between. So a sender sends an email to the user agent, then user agent sends that email to clients, and then MTA clients connect with the appropriate server of the MTA server, and then it sends back to the user agent, and then user agent sends email the receiver, and hence the mail is received. Now POP is a legacy, we can say, and in this what used to happen is emails used to get downloaded from the server, and once the email are downloaded, they used to get deleted. Basically there is no backup and everything, so we used to lose our email. So but nowadays we do not lose them, so we can like access any number of time by we go on Gmail and we can just access, and we have the long history. Now comes the second one, which is WebSocket. In WebSocket, we have server, client, and client 1 and client 2. Multiple clients are connected with the same server, but here the client 1 cannot talk with client 2, or client 2 cannot talk with client 1. This is not allowed. Okay, because if this is allowed, then it will become a peer-to-peer network protocol, which is a different. Now this is the confusion and very important interview question as well. You may get asked like differentiate between WebSocket and peer-to-peer. So understand it carefully. In WebSocket, server and client can talk with each other, but the connected clients cannot talk with each other. Okay, so in previously only the client can request something from the server, but here the server can also request something from client. Okay, so this is bidirectional connection, and this is generally used for messaging apps where two users are chatting with each other via messages, and client 1 sends the message to client 2. So client will send message to client to server, then server will send that message to the appropriate receiver, right? So this is how does it happen. And then let's take an example of WhatsApp, where you send a message, then it will received by server, and server is sent to client 2, right? Then if it will check with client 2 whether client has received the message or not. If yes, then it will send you the again the message that okay, it has received, message has been received, so you will get that double tick. Then again after certain time frame, after some seconds, it will keep on requesting from the receiver that hey, has you read the message, is the message read, is the message read. If the message is read, then it will send that information to the sender, which is you. So that's how this works, and that's how WebSockets is used. So basically WebSocket is the low latency protocol which is used for messaging and notification and giving quick update in real time. Okay, so this is very important line, real time updates. Now let's comes to next one, which is peer to peer. In this, as we saw, the client can talk with each other. In this one, server, client and client 2, all the clients connected to the server can talk with each other. So this is peer to peer, and it is used for live streaming and video conferencing kind of situations. And now let's look at the scenario. For example, client 1 is calling client 2, and then server is in between. And what will happen? Client 1 will send some video information to the server, then server will process it, and then it will send back to the client 2. Now let's say client 1 takes around 10 milliseconds to send that video to the server, then server took some time to process it and then send back to client. So it is taking around, let's say, 22 milliseconds for all this to happen, and which might be little bit more. If the user are further away, then it may take more time to receive, to get the video. Now what happened is server say okay, I will not process your data, you talk with each other directly. So what is happening? It is redirecting all the requests from client to the client to itself, and now this is what is happening. Client 1 is directly sending the video to client 2. Of course server is in between to maintain that connection, but it is redirecting the request directly to the client. It's not processing it anything, so it is creating a connection between those two directly and monitoring it. So here we are saving around 12 milliseconds of time, and it becomes very fast. We have reduced the time more than 50%, and it's faster, and it is generally used for live streams and video calls. So now you know the difference between both. Please don't get confused further. Actually I recorded it before, but my recorder froze and I lost. So I am recording it for the third time. It happened twice, so I'm constantly checking whether something is wrong or not. Anyways, let's move to the final layer that we are going to talk about, transport layer and network layer. Now these two layers are slightly different, Okay, they are basically I think third and fourth layer or vice versa. In transport layer we have TCP, and in network layer we have UDP. These are both connection protocols, which is here the TCP is stands for transmission control protocol. In this it is dependent on virtual connections, and that virtual connection is maintained. In this we want to transfer some data, so they are divided into smaller packets 1, 2 and 3, and then these packets are sent to the receiver in the same order. So which means in TCP connection ordering is maintained, because in this a sequence is maintained, and it will also wait for the acknowledgement from the receiver. Say it send the first packet, then it will wait for the acknowledgement, okay, the receiver has received it or not. If yes, then it will send second, and then it will send 3. But for example it doesn't get the acknowledgement for the second packet, then what will happen, it will resend that second packet until it receives the acknowledgement. So in this what is happening, in this we are making sure that the data has been sent to the receiver, and it has been received as well. So this is what we use in the messaging apps, where we cannot lose the data at any cost, and we want to make sure that data is sent successfully. Now comes the second one, which is UDP, which stands for user datagram protocol, and this one is just opposite of the TCP. In this there is no connection maintained, instead multiple connections are created parallelly, and data is sent on those connections parallelly, which means there is no ordering maintained. This is also faster because we are not waiting for any acknowledgement from the receiver, so it is faster, and it is just saying that I'll do just the best effort to send that data. So it is we can call it is just a best effort for sending it. So what is happening, let's say this is one big data and it has 4 packets, so it will create multiple parallel connection with the receiver, and it will send all of them at the same time, maybe 2 at the same time or 3 at the same time, it depends. So it sends those data to the receiver, and hence the data is being sent without waiting for any acknowledgement. So this is generally used for live streaming or video calls, where real-time information is required in video format, and we don't care if some data is lost, because when you are doing a video call to someone and you are talking with the person, then generally if you misses something, you basically don't care of sending it back, because then again it will be a lag. He may be saying something, and then he has to also wait for your answer, right? Let's say you are talking to your friend and I am saying, hey, how are you, and then this message is being sent, let's say 1 minute late, and which means for 1 minute you will not respond anything to the your friend, and he will think, okay, there is some network issue, and he may cut the call. But we don't want that, right? So it may always maintains that so that's why it doesn't wait for acknowledgement, and you can just re-ask the person, hey, I just lost you for a minute, can you please repeat? So this is how what happens. And or you are watching a live streaming of the match, so you only care about what happening right now on the stadium, right? The main use cases of this UDP, right? So it is used for live streaming or video calling. So now you know the difference and you know the use case as well. So that's all for this video. I hope you like it. If you have any queries, if you don't understand something, please comment down. I'll try to answer as fast as possible. So see you in the next one. Thank you.